Yeah. So obviously AI is changing everything, and some things are for the best, other things not so much. The main problem that I see that people make with AI, especially within the marketing world, is when they let AI dictate their strategy. As soon as you do that, you start looking like every other company on the market.
Welcome back to the High Ticket AI Systems Podcast. Everyone, please welcome the one and only Mr. Johnny Baskin. Johnny, welcome to the show, my friend. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure to have you on. Now, to give the audience some context as to like what the company does, who you are, and who you guys serve best, can you give us a high level overview?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a digital marketing expert. I run Nomadic Advertising. We're a remote digital marketing agency started out of Toronto. And I work with all kinds of businesses. So I'm not like the type of agency that's very rigid, that niches down too much and, only likes to work with one particular type of business. But we like to work with all kinds of businesses. We love the challenge of uh, exploring new industries, especially industries that maybe are not so common. So we love to work with companies that are looking to do something innovative, looking to do something different. And we're also not just focused on one particular marketing channel. Every time we work with a company, we look to create an approach that meets their needs and that makes sense for their customer base. So we hate the cookie cutter style of that a lot of marketing agencies like to follow, and instead we like to do something different and unique.
That's a pretty good answer when it comes to, taking a holistic point of view and really finding custom-made solutions. Do you mind if I ask you, what is the thought process behind that business model opposed to doing like everyone else, cookie cutter approach, one offer, one vertical they work in, why your way over their way?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because if you start to do research about marketing, one of the core concepts and core things that you'll probably hear beated over and over is find your target audience, find that specific type of person and and niche down and cater to them. And that makes a lot of sense because when you're creating any kind of marketing material, you want it to resonate with that specific target audience, right? In our case, I think that for me personally, I get bored easily when I'm doing the same thing over and over. I don't like that kind of repetition. And I love to stay on top of whatever is happening in terms of new trends. So my goal is not to just find businesses that are looking for a marketing expert or looking to fill a specific need, like they need Google ads or they need SEO or something like that. My goal is to work with businesses that align with that kind of thinking, just like I do. Ones that they want to do something different. They want to try a different kind of marketing. And I think that that's super important right now, especially with AI and everything that's going on in the world. You have to do something different because if you take that same cookie cutter approach, as a lot of these agencies do, that they only work in one industry and they do similar thing for most of their clients, you're going to end up taking the same approach as an AI would give you. And if AI is dictating your marketing strategy, you already know you're in trouble.
That's a pretty good answer when it comes to if you let AI do your marketing, you'll have basic, average results, right? Because all LLMs are just like large data fucking models and they all go to like the median of the result. So if you have experience like yourself, over a decade in business, a bunch of case studies, all that fun stuff, you're actually doing yourself a disservice by letting AI dictate your marketing, like whether it's channels, copy, just anything marketing related. Can we use it to speed shit up? Of course. But for the ideation, no way. Like you're the expert. Don't let marketing or don't let AI dictate the marketing ideas on your behalf. You know what I mean? With that being said, do you find it to be challenging to work with verticals across the board because the process is not cookie cutter, but not repeatable, if that makes sense. Because for one industry, we do this, and then next industry, we do this. Do you find that to be challenging, or do you love the challenge?
Yeah, of course it's challenging, but like you said, I do love that challenge. And I do love to learn about how different kinds of businesses work. I find it super fascinating. And the interesting thing is, as you start to work with many different industries, you start to realize, hey, there's one thing that I can grab from this industry that nobody's doing in this other industry, and I can pull that and bring it here. And so I think that there's actually a really big benefit as you start to work with other industries, because you start to see how different types of people think, how different kind of customers react to things, and you can start to do something different in whatever new industry that you're working in. So I think that it's actually a big benefit, and personally, I think that it keeps us engaged, keeps us wanting to learn more, and keeps things exciting.
I mean, let's be honest, right? If you're unfulfilled with what you're doing, then like you're not going to get good client results. You're going to burn out. You're going to not go bankrupt, but like quit your business, right? But you kind of sound like me when it comes like being bored easily. Definitely know what the frick you mean there. You probably have ADHD, right? At least I know I do.
Yeah, probably. I'm not diagnosed, but probably I have something.
That's funny. Nonetheless, if you're looking for a challenge, if you want that, I guess novelty within like a client vendor relationship, 100% makes total sense to do that. And I love what you said about taking what works over here and applying it to this industry and seeing if it does work. And here's the thing, bro. Like, if it does work over here and nobody else over here is using this method, and we're the first ones or one of the first ones to utilize this method, dude, you're gonna crush for that client. Absolutely. On the topic of like being new and creating novelty, AI's here, right? With that being said, how do you feel like AI is impacting your business in a good way and impacting like businesses on your clients' behalf, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so obviously AI, it's changing everything, and some things are for the best, other things not so much. The main problem that I see that people make with AI, especially within the marketing world, is when they let AI dictate their strategy. As soon as you do that, you start looking like every other company on the market, because like you mentioned earlier, AI is just kind of repeating what everybody's doing and telling you to do it. So what I like to do is I like to kind of think, what would AI never tell me to do? And how can I do that? Because I don't want to do what the AI is going to tell me to do. I don't want to sound like everybody else. I want to sound unique. I want to sound different. And my clients want that too. So I think that the biggest benefit from AI is, of course, everybody's using it to help them brainstorm and write content. But really, the biggest benefit is that you can use it against all of your competitors by just not using it. Everybody's saying you should use this AI tool, you should use this AI tool. Well, maybe the biggest advantage in an AI world is to not use AI. So, of course, yes, I use AI. Of course, I use it to brainstorm, but I'm always thinking in the back of my mind, okay, here's what the AI is telling me. What's going to be the opposite of that? And I feel like that's one of the most powerful ways to use AI.
You're so fucking spot on when you say that, Johnny, because I watched this video the other day. He's a cold email, Lee Gen J, if you know that guy. He essentially said, if you're asking, Claude or Chat, whoever, like, what are the best industries to target for cold email? And like, do every industry, but the industries that fucking ChatGPT just gave you, because everyone and their mom is going to fucking spam that entire industry, right? So totally in agreement with you. Like, if AI says this, do the opposite, and you'll probably stand out way more than the rest of the crowd. I actually like, I like that take a lot, by the way. Let's see. When you are working with companies or different verticals, what do you feel like, I guess, when is the right time to do SEO versus like paid ads like TikTok or Meta ads or even?
Mhm. Yeah, so it all depends on what the priorities are of the business and what their goals are right now. If you're looking to generate results as quick as possible, obviously you're going to want to lean more on the paid side, because that's where the results are going to come quickest. You're paying to be at the top of Google. You're paying to show up on social media in front of people. So you're going to get eyes on whatever you're doing. Now, if your execution is off, doesn't matter whether you're doing paid ads or organic, right? If you're trying to build for the long term, if you're trying to build a community, you're trying to build a strong fan base, you've got to go organic, because that's how you build that strong connection. The people that are finding you organically, those are the people that are going to be your biggest fans. Those are the people that they're doing their research. They're not clicking on the first ad that they see. They're not responding to the first social media post that shows up on their feed about the topic. They're the ones that are digging in, they're doing the research, they're going to be more qualified, they're going to be the ones that are going to give you the highest return on investment. But it's not going to happen overnight. You have to be ready to invest. You have to be ready to create content, whether it be for SEO, whether it be for social media. But you've got to build that muscle. You've got to know how to create this content. You got to know what your customers are going to resonate with, and it's not going to happen overnight. Of course, if you're a bigger business, you've been doing this for some time, you have a lot of revenue coming in, you want to be doing it all, right? I wouldn't write off either of these strategies, but which one you choose just depends on your goals in the moment.
Gotcha. Great answer. On the topic of content and having inbound organic traffic be like the best leads you can ever receive, completely agree. For us, the podcast has many benefits. One of them is going to be like SEO, AI SEO, content for all the marketing platforms out there. We do an SEO audit internally every 30 days, so once a month. And every single time, it's still pulling information from YouTube, pulling information from my LinkedIn. And legitimately, without us having this podcast or creating any content on YouTube or LinkedIn, like we wouldn't get cited at all in these search engines. So it is a long-term play, but when they are looking you up online and they see all that material, they hit your website, they read or check out a video, whatever the case is, and then they book that call with you, they already come through liking you, trusting you, probably already wanting to buy, right? So internally, not sure if you thought about this, but internally, yeah, we have the podcast and it does go up on YouTube, but we're also thinking about making like educational content. The reason why we didn't is because it's such a long tail, like you said. But getting back to our point, if they watch 2, 3, 4 hours of your content and then book a call with you, it's like almost a sale already, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely, for sure. That's going to be your easiest sale ever when somebody gets on a call and they already know you, they already like you, right? So that's what people say, that you need to make a sale. You need people to know you. You need people to like you, right? So, 100%, if you can create content that resonates with people, if they want to consume it, that means that you're answering the questions that they have and they start to see you as an authority within the space. So who doesn't want to work with the authority in the space, right?
No, absolutely. I do have a quick question. It's regarding B2B because that's essentially where we work and most of our audience works as well. How do you filter out price shoppers with negative keywords on a Google ad campaign? Because I feel like that
Yeah,
is like
it's
the biggest challenges in that space.
Yeah, it is one of the biggest things that I hear from B2B companies, because a lot of the times within B2B, your customer is super specific. They can't be just like some person that just started their business, a one-man show with no budget, right? Most of the times they're going to need to be a little bit bigger, and sometimes it's very difficult to find these customers. Sometimes people are even doing B2G, which is even more challenging. So the way that you filter it out is, of course, you can use negative keywords on Google Ads to make sure that people that are just looking for some kind of a DIY thing or something like that are not going to be seeing your ads. But furthermore, it's about creating a landing page, creating a form on that landing page that's going to help to filter out the people that you don't want to work with. A lot of the times, people, they want to make the form on their landing page as small as possible. They want to make their content on their landing page as enticing as possible to really get people to fill in the form and want to contact them. But you could actually be doing yourself a disservice, because if the wrong people are contacting you, you're training these advertising algorithms to get more of the wrong people to your landing page. So actually, sometimes getting less form submissions is a win if you're getting the right form submissions, because now you're starting to train these algorithms on who's going to be the right person to send to your page.
On the topic of price shoppers and dealing with a high-end B2B client, I've learned this with, I guess, just through sales experience. low end customers will more than happy like consume your 15-minute video sales letter, right? They'll go through and watch all your pre-frame material. They'll read every single email, and like that person still won't fucking buy, dude. A very sophisticated high-end B2B client, they won't watch any fucking of that shit. But I've made sales in a 5-minute conversation just because of like who I am and being direct, because they're direct to me being as well. It's like, okay, cool, I like you, I like the offer. Price makes sense. Let's continue. And like a 5-minute conversation. I bring this up because if you are trying to target B2B, right? People that have money, that own a business, you would want to, like you said, filter all of the tire kickers or brokies, as I like to say, on the initial landing page or website, whatever the case is. The more direct, I think, sure, in simplification, but the more direct you can be with a B2B audience, I think the more you'll win. Because I don't know about you, but I will never watch a 15-minute video sales letter ever again in my life. A few years ago, sure. But now, unless I'm like studying the fucking material, like the copywriting message, there's no fucking way I'm like wasting 15 minutes watching your message. I'm going to speak to the fucking guy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm the worst person to come through a funnel, but like I know other people that are like that. And it's just like, why not accommodate for people like me or like them? You know? So just be
Mhm.
direct. Not
Yeah.
sure if that
Yeah.
helped or added value at all, but anyways.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one thing that's also extremely important in B2B, especially as you're trying to get bigger and bigger deals, is word of mouth. Like a lot of marketers, they hate to say it because they feel like maybe it's taking away from their work, but it's not, right? You need to have some kind of a strategy in place. How are you going to get your customers to talk about you? How are you going to get your clients to share the results that you're bringing to them? Because your clients, they know other people like them. They know other people in their space. And like you mentioned, a lot of these more sophisticated B2B buyers, they don't want to sit through some kind of 15-minute video about your product. What they want to do is they want to go and talk to their friend because they've been in the industry for 30 years. They've built up their career all the way here. And through that process, they've made connections. They've worked with many other people, and they much more trust the people who they've built those experiences with to refer somebody to them than, the AI result on the top of Google.
You're so spot on. Like, and this is one of the reasons why I hate working with enterprise accounts, because it takes like 2 years to get a freaking deal. And like you said, typically the only time a sale gets made is if they heard about the company from a friend, right? And then again, it still takes 2 freaking years or like 6 months, 24 months, whatever, to actually get that deal done. And like, I just hate long sales cycles. Anyways, getting back to your point of word of mouth strategies. Okay, so I'm not sure if you've thought about this or want to implement this at all, but interviewing your successful clients, like not like them shoot a video testimonial. I mean, like the best way to do it, in my opinion, is fly out to them or they fly to you if they want to travel, and you just sit down with them and you truly do a video content like interview. Like, what were your thoughts on us before working with us? What did we do for you? What was the result? Where did it cost? Literally like the full freaking shebang, right? If you can rack up as many of those and then incentivize the people in the interview to distribute that and then give like 1 free month of service or whatever, if they sign up through that content or just from that word of mouth person, I have found that that works freaking wonders, because two things. It's like a podcast. The person gets to talk and like explain what their opinion was and like what actually happened. So it's pretty fun. And then two, they also get benefit. Like they get rewarded, right? Like 1 free month. Like you get a few of those, bro. Like your whole term for us for a 4 month term is like, it's taken care of. Like we work for free for you now. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
yeah. Have you thought about doing that at all? Like sit down with your successful clients. Looks like you have a ton on the website, by the way, and like interview them like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think it can definitely be a powerful strategy. And I think you don't even got to fly there nowadays. We can do a call just like we're doing right now. We don't even need to be in the same room together. But I think that it's the way that I would frame it would be less so about how did you get these results, or let's give you a free month of service if you sit down with us. And instead I'd say, hey, we'd love to introduce you to more people. We'd love to get your name out there. And I wouldn't frame the conversation about how did we deliver results. I frame it about, hey, how did you bring your business from this much to this much? And what should other people that are trying to do the same thing do if they want to do that? And maybe they're going to talk about their product. Maybe they're going to talk about their unique service. But in the background, it doesn't even need to be spoken. Everybody knows that you were involved in that process. At the end of the day, what I find is that my clients that are the most successful, it's not because of us. And, I would love to say it is, but it's not. It's because they have a great product, they have a great service, and we're a tool that they're able to utilize to bring themselves up here. And once people are here, they want to brag about it. So why not give them the space to do that? And that's content that they can use on their social media. That's content that they can post on their YouTube. That's content that they could be paying you to create for them. But it's also helping you at the same time, because now all of their audience is starting to see how they got there, and they can see that background. The curtain is lifted a bit, and all of a sudden you're there. And hey, if their network is seeing it, and their network is people like them, you might all of a sudden start getting outreached by people who know them and said, hey, you know what? I saw what you did for these guys, and I want the same for myself.
And that inherent trust is so vitally important. And it's something that is so difficult to replicate through cold traffic. Like, I know we're talking about like organic and paid media right now. So if we think about it, like, that's why we love referrals so much. Like, sure, they're sporadic, but like, they trust us and it's a very easy sales process. How can we, through cold traffic, try to replicate that high know, like, and trust factor? From our experience, and just, do you know who Jeremy Haynes is, by the way?
No, I'm not familiar.
Dude, after this, go watch his content. You'll love what I'm about to say because of him. Essentially, going back to like B2B people, like, be very direct. Essentially, one way to gain trust through cold traffic is to try and deliver all of the information that one can possibly want before the freaking sales call. Like me, I'm that guy. I'm not gonna watch your video, but I will read your emails. Best believe I'm an email guy. Because it's faster for me to read than to watch. So if you send me like how the process works, some case studies, like the fucking ballpark pricing, right? I'm gonna consume that way more than I'm consuming a long form VSL, right? And that's just one thing to do, in our opinion, to, like, I guess, increase the trust and shorten sales cycles with cold traffic. But one more thing I want to add to what you said, it's so important. If we have an interview, pretend you're my client and you made 100K with our services, cool. And I don't say anything about us working with you. I ask you questions about, hey, like, how are you here? Like, what did you do to grow? What were the challenges, the solutions, all that fun stuff? I love how you said, it's like a indirect message, or it's an indirect way to say, like, we kind of helped you did that. And if you, Johnny, wanted to say that during the interview, by all means, go for it. But I'm not going to like press you and say, hey, talk about our services. I totally know what you mean. I found it to be a wiser way. So hats off to you for thinking of that.
Yeah. And I think that to answer kind of your question there about how can we create this kind of warm feeling with people that aren't referred to us, it's exactly what you said. It's about having all of that content. It's about delivering that content, answering all their questions before they get on the sales call. And going back to what we talked about earlier in this call, this is one way that I would use AI. I'd give it all of my sales calls and I'd say, what are the questions that people are asking me? What are the questions that people in the legal industry are asking? What are the questions that people that are in the finance industry are asking me? And in that way, you can start to find these patterns and you can build your content off of that. And I would focus the content on those burning questions that your clients have and make it all around that, because companies these days, they all just want to talk about themselves. They all just want to show off what they did or their service or their product or whatever it may be. But consumers don't want that. They hate that. They're all trying to get away from it. We see 10,000 brand messages per day, right? So we don't want that. We want the meat of it. We want the real information. And if you're giving me the real information, then I'm going to go and I'm going to find a way to use it. And most likely I'm going to need somebody to help me do that. And you're going to be the one that I'm going to think of, right? It's also like, the Michelin star? Do you know that story of how it was created?
The tire company?
Yeah.
Enlighten me.
Yeah.
Wait,
So
wait, wait, no, no,
they
no. Shouldn't start like the restaurant thing, like a really good like.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually don't know how that was formed.
So, the restaurant thing, the Michelin star, was created by the tire company, right? And why did they create it? Because they wanted people to drive more and they had to give people a reason to drive more. So rather than talking about how amazing their tires are and telling people that, their tires are better than the competitors, they said, let's screw that. Let's create a guide. And in that guide, they had information about where gas stations are. And one of those things that they had were the restaurants. What restaurants are worth driving to, right? So what was the result? Everybody loved it. They started going to these restaurants. And how did they get to these restaurants? By driving their cars, right? And the more you drive your car, the more you got to change your tires, right? So it wasn't about creating more content about their product. It was about just giving people a reason to want to drive more.
That is so fucking good. I'm gonna take this information and run with that shit tonight on the weekend. Like you just gave me, I feel like a million fucking dollar idea, dude. Holy shit. Thank you. I do have a question that hopefully the audience wants to hear the answer to. I think they will. With B2B companies, which do you feel like is a better platform to run advertisements on? Meta or LinkedIn? And specifically for like professional services on B2B, Meta or LinkedIn?
Yeah. So always when I talk to B2B companies and this conversation comes up, and even I say the word meta, all of them, they have this face like they want to throw up because they all tell me my customers are not on Meta. But if I look at their phones, all of them have either Instagram or Facebook installed. So the thing is that I think a lot of people don't want to admit is Meta is so intertwined in everybody's lives that everybody has a Facebook account, everybody has an Instagram account, either one or the other, right? So you can find those B2B buyers on Meta. Meta ads, they are a lot cheaper, right? So I am a fan of Meta ads. Of course, we use LinkedIn ads too. There's a time and place for both. LinkedIn ads, they are pricey in my experience. So I'm not a huge fan just because I always love to tie back our marketing to direct results. I always love to show our clients the leads that they got. And I love to see what was the return on investment. Did those leads convert? And through Meta, it's a lower cost per lead typically for us. But of course, it depends on the industry and especially also how niche your industry. Because the great thing about LinkedIn is that you can target by company size, right? You can target by job position, right? You can target by industry. So uh, I would tell most companies try both and see what kind of results you get. And maybe you're going to want to have a little bit of a different messaging on LinkedIn, a little bit more of a professional messaging on Meta. Maybe it's going to be a little bit more of a laid back messaging, but only by trying both are you really going to see what's going to drive results at the end of the day.
To piggyback off what you just said, everyone has either Facebook or Instagram, right? So why would I not go to where the people are? Sure, in a professional setting, you have a LinkedIn account. But like when I'm bored and I just want to scroll through social media, I'm not scrolling LinkedIn, dude. I'm going to be on Facebook or Instagram, right? And to just because you have a smaller TAM, let's say 5K, okay? What you can do is you can take the entire TAM, like scrape the data or like get a fucking lead list on Apollo or Clay, whatever that you want to use, export that data and just upload it into Meta as a custom audience. Now, the only people you're talking to is everyone in your ICP, right? So by default, your message is going to the right person. And because Meta is cheaper than LinkedIn, you're just going to have a more positive ROI, right? So if you're in that space, you're welcome. That being said, though, I haven't tried LinkedIn B2B just because like fucking what? Or not B2B ads, I mean, because like just like the interface is just like what? You know what I mean? But if it works and it's working, like why stop? Like why break it? You know what I mean? I only know better from like previous years. Different question for you. So how should service businesses position themselves as premium when potential clients are trying to use AI to find the cheapest?
Yeah. And I'm seeing a lot of this right now, especially within our industry, within the marketing industry. A lot of people are complaining that, oh, clients are just going to want to buy AI websites. Like they don't want to pay for a human made website. Clients just they rather do SEO by telling Claude to do SEO for them. Now, those of us that are in the marketing space, we can understand pretty clearly that it doesn't work that easily. You cannot just tell Claude to do your SEO. Even if you build a website with AI, a lot of the times it's lacking. And a lot of the times it's actually pretty difficult for those websites to get indexed on Google, in my experience. So it doesn't work. But the thing is that your clients, they may believe that it works, right? And this is where you've got to educate them. This is where you've got to find a way to stand out in the market. And that's why even in the beginning of this podcast, I spoke so much about how we're all about doing things different. We're all about doing things that the AI won't do, because that's the whole point. If you want to use AI, just go and use AI. You're not our target audience, right? But if you're trying to do something different, then we're the ones that you should speak to. And I think that service-based businesses that are struggling with clients asking them about why can't I just use AI, they haven't beaten that message enough. They haven't shown people what's unique about them. If your clients are comparing you to AI and they think that it's the same thing, it means that your messaging is super generic.
That is a very interesting point. I actually love your take on AI. You have a completely different take than most, and hats off to you. Don't stop thinking that way. I want to go back to what you said. You said most of the time, or in your experience, the websites built by Claude or whoever, they're not getting indexed that much. They're not like building the authority that they need to. Why do you feel like that is?
Well, what I've experienced even before AI is JavaScript websites are very difficult to get indexed and rank on Google, because Google cannot read it as easily. And all of the websites that these AIs are building are using JavaScript frameworks. So just because of that, like technical detail, it's harder for these websites to be read by crawlers. So even though Google will tell you, if you search, you're going to be like, Johnny, I just Googled it. And you know what? Google says that there's no problem with JavaScript websites being indexed. And you know what? The Nike website is built with JavaScript and it has no problem. Well, I'm telling you my personal experience, JavaScript websites harder to rank on Google. And the experience of all SEOs is never trust Google. So if they say that they can index the website, no problem, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't know. Almost all the websites that I visit from Google are not JavaScript framework.
That's so funny. I've heard that common theme as well. If Google says X, fucking do Y, because Google is lying to you. Like I don't know why Google does that, but they do not state the truth. So, uh, what other than JavaScript would rank? I'm not a code guy. I don't know about that shit. So like, what other I guess syntaxes are there?
Yeah. So PHP, HTML sites, HTML, CSS, well, JavaScript websites also use it, but PHP websites, what we use in our agency is WordPress, right? It's been around forever. I've been using it for over 10 years. So personally, I'm a huge fan, but I know people have different takes on it. But pretty much WordPress sites that use PHP, more simple technology, works great, super stable, and gets indexed super easily. Like out of the websites that I've built, WordPress has always ranked the best. Maybe it's anecdotal, but that's what I believe.
And not to switch gears completely, but the name of that company, Nomadic Advertising, right? Where have you lived overseas, and where are you headed to next?
Yeah, so all over the place. I traveled all over South America, so like Brazil, Colombia, Peru, Chile, uh, Argentina. Like
Can I
a
pause you?
lot of places.
I want to go to South America. I used to live on the Caribbean Sea for about 6 months, but Argentina looks amazing, Colombia, then Brazil. Out of those four, Mexico, the three others, which one do you feel like was your favorite?
Well, my wife is Brazilian, so I have to say Brazil, right? It is a beautiful place, beautiful culture, beautiful people, beautiful beaches. So that's my favorite. But also, if you go to Argentina, like I love Patagonia. If you go to Chile, I love the Atacama Desert. That's one thing that I realized from traveling is I love to see beautiful nature because I feel like when I travel just from big city to big city, it's unique, it's different, but it's not that different, you know? But when you go to a place like Patagonia, when you go to a place like the Atacama Desert, when you go to Machu Picchu, it's like you see something that it's like so amazing and you're not going to see it anywhere else. So, yeah, I've been all over South America. I've been to Europe as well. So I want to go to Asia. That's kind of like on my bucket list. So we'll see. Maybe that'll be next.
For sure. Johnny, we wish you, the best of luck with the business and safe travels to wherever the destination leads you, my friend. Where can they find you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn. If you search my name, Johnny Baskin, you can find our website at nomadicadvertising.com. And yeah, if you want to reach out to us, just through our website's the best way.
Johnny, thanks for joining us, my man. Great conversation.
Yeah, thank you for having me.